Hello everyone, and welcome to another Pathfinder adventure card game scenario. We're with the character Damiel, and this is scenario 5.3. We're over at the Glass Pavilion. We're at this location. At the start of your turn, examine the top card of your location deck. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. Damiel's hand is good. Advancing the Blessings deck, we get a Blessing of Wajet. And exploring, or actually we have to examine the top card, and now we can explore. Alright, we get a magnifying glass. So intelligence perception 4, Damiel has an intelligence of D10 plus 3, so this is an auto acquire for him. That's pretty cool. So it says here, recharge this card to examine the top card of your deck, then you may shuffle your deck. Oh, how about that? It says here, reveal this card to add 1d4 to your disable or perception check against a barrier or a boon. So that's pretty cool. So we will acquire this card, and then we'll go ahead and we will examine the top card of our deck. So we examine it. Oh, we get the Sunrod. Well, that is a really great card. So what we're going to do is we're going to recharge it, and then we'll just keep it. Alright, pretty nifty. Looking at Damiel's hand, it's fine. We like it, but since we have to examine cards anyway, we'll go ahead and use the Blessing of Wajet. It says discard this card to examine the top card of your location deck. Then you may explore your location. During this exploration, add 1 die to your checks to acquire boons. So we'll do it. We're examining this card. Alright, and what's pretty awesome is now we can add 1 die to our check to acquire this Blessed of Mat. So we'll go ahead and do the Constitution check, which for Damiel is D8. So now we can roll 2d8, and we can try to roll a 10 or higher. Alright, that's pretty exciting. Let's do it. And we'll look at that. We get a 6, 7, 8, 9. So what we're going to do is we will acquire this Blessed Mat. We're going to straighten out the location there. Alright, so we acquire this. It goes into our hand. And things are pretty groovy. Let's see. Can we use the Blessed Mat to explore? So we can't use this card to explore, but we can use the Blessed of Abadar. We're going to discard this card to explore our location, because we don't want to examine cards. We are exploring. Alright, we get the Augury spell. So it's an intelligence 6 check. Damiel has an intelligence of D10 plus 3. Let's go ahead and roll. So roll a 4, plus 3 is 7. So we do acquire this card. So what we can do is we can discard this card and choose a type of card and examine the top 3 cards of your location deck. If there are any cards of the chosen type, set them aside. Return the remaining cards to the deck. Shuffle it. Then put the cards you set aside together in any order on the top or bottom of the deck. So that's interesting. I guess we could go ahead and choose Monster if we wanted to and kind of speed up this game. So let's do it. Well, actually, you know what, Damiel, he wants some more boons. So we're not too interested in the Augury spell. We're just going to toss it, and we're going to reset our hand and get the Sunrod, which is fairly awesome. Let's go ahead and advance the Blessings deck. It's a Blessing of Nephis, and we're going to examine this card. We examine it, and now we have to encounter the Eternal Captives. It's a Cursed Undead. Check to defeat Wisdom Divine 10 or Charisma Diplomacy 8. So each character at your location attempts a check to defeat the Eternal Captives. If any character fails, the barrier is undefeated. You are dealt 1d4 cold damage, then suffer the Scourge, Curse of the Sphinx. Alright, well that's pretty nasty there. So Damiel has a Wisdom of D6, and he also has a Charisma or Diplomacy of a D8. So he's in a bit of a pickle here. And he used up his blessings. He does have the Blessed of Mat. So the Blessed of Mat will allow him to add 3 or subtract 3 from the roll, which will be very useful. He has Cursed, Undead. Let's see. I'm looking to see if Damiel has anything in his hand, and he really doesn't. So, looking at his powers, it's a Cursed Undead. Alright, so what we're gonna do is I think we'll do the it looks like no matter what he's gonna fail. How about that? So we can do the Charisma Diplomacy of a D4, but he can only add 3 to that. Wow. Is there anything he can do looking at that? Oh, so there's no powers. He's got no cards in his hand. Nothing that's going to help out. It's an auto fail, really. So we'll do the auto fail because we are dealt 1d4 cold damage. So let's go ahead and take that. So we take 4 cold damage. So we'll go ahead and use the Blessing of Mat. We can recharge this to reduce damage by 2. We still have to take 2 points of damage. So we'll go ahead and lose. So we'll take 2 points of damage there. And then we have to suffer the Scourge Curse of the Sphinx, and it's undefeated, which means it's going to go back into the deck. And here we have a Curse of the Sphinx. So Curse of the Sphinx says, while displayed before you explore, examine the top card of your location deck. If it is a boon, recharge your hand, then reset your hand, then discard a card. Okay, so we have the Curse of the Sphinx, and the Eternal Captive is getting shuffled back into the deck. Wow, fairly unfortunate. So, just doing that, I'm going to go ahead and roll a d8 to see which card is on top of the deck. It's the first card. Alright, let's go ahead and reset Damiel's hand. Alright, so now we're going to advance the Blessings deck. And then we have 2 at the start of your turn. So this one, well actually no, this one's at the start of our turn. So we have to examine this card. So it's a Blessed of Bastet. But now the Curse of the Sphinx triggers. It says before you explore, so before we explore we have to examine this card. If it's a boon, we recharge our hand, reset our hand, then discard a card. Okay, we'll go ahead and do that. We will recharge our hand. So fairly annoying. We will reset our hand by drawing 5 cards. So, and then we have to discard a card. So we will choose to discard the we'll choose to discard, tough call. We'll choose to discard, believe it or not, we're discarding the Scarab Buckler. Then we are going to put the Canteen on top of the library. Then, well, I guess technically, before we do all that, well, we did the Curse of the Sphinx. Now we have to examine the card through the Glass Pavilion. Okay, we examine it. It's a Blessed Bastet. Now we can do the Canteen. We're going to use the Soul Stimulant so that we can get rid of the Curse of the Sphinx. And then what we're going to do is we will explore. And we get the Blessed of Bastet. So it's a craft 8, and Damiel has a craft of D10 plus 5. So feeling pretty confident here. And we did roll a 3, so we do get the Blessed of Bastet. We can discard to examine the top card of your location deck. So we will do that. We're just going to go for it. Going for broke, and we examine. And we meet this, and we can't evade it. So it's an Animal Elite. If the check defeat has a cold trait, add 1d8. So what we have is we have an Acid Flask, which we're going to use and put on top of the Canteen. So we're going to do that. We also could have put the Soul Stimulant on top of the Canteen. So we're going to do that right now. So Giant Crocodile, the Acid Flask is our Disable skill plus 2d6, and we are adding plus 5 to this roll. So I think we'll be fine. I'm going to roll these dice and add 5. See what happens. Alright, so we get a 9, 10, and 5 is 15, plus 5 is 20. So we do defeat the Giant Crocodile. We'll go ahead and reset our hand. Alright, resetting our hand. We will advance the Blessings deck. It's a Blessing of the Ancients. We have to examine this card, which is the Elder Ice Elemental, and now we will explore. So the Elder Ice Elemental, it's immune to cold and poison. All damage is cold damage. It's an outsider elemental cold. Before you act, succeed at a Constitution or Fortitude 8 check, or you may play no more than 1 card on your check to defeat. That kind of sucks. If the check to defeat has the Electricity trait, you may re-roll the dice. Well, that's pretty interesting. I mean, I like that, but as it is, so let's go ahead and do a before you act ability. So we have to do the Constitution 8. So roll a 7. Is there anything that we have that can add to our roll? And there isn't. Okay, so we can only play one card on this check to defeat. What we're going to do is we're going to use the canteen. We're going to bury it so that we can draw these two cards into our hand. And we'll go ahead and just use the acid flask on the Elder Ice Elemental. It's going to be D10 plus 2D6. Alright, and we have to roll. We're adding a total of plus 5 to this roll since it's a disable check. Is that correct? It is a disable check. Actually, we're adding plus 4 to this roll. Alright, so we rolled a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we failed by 5. We have to take 5 points of cold damage. So what we're going to do is we'll use the Ubashti to recharge 2, so we can stop 2 of that damage. And then we have to take 3 points of cold damage. That really sucks. Let's go ahead and lose these 3 cards. The Elder Ice Elemental is shuffled back into the deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 cards left here. Let's see which card is on top. The 5th card on the bottom. And now we will reset Damiel's hand. Alright, this is turned out to be a challenging adventure. Damiel is running out of cards. We have a Blessing of Thoth in the Blessings discard pile. We have to examine this card. We examine the Eternal Captives. But so now we have some choices here. So we know we're facing the Eternal Captives, which is Wisdom Divine, Charisma, Diplomacy. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the Viper. So we can recharge a card in our hand to, we can exchange a card in our hand. So what we're going to do is we're going to exchange the Blessed of Isis in our hand with the Blessed of Thoth, which is in our discard pile. So I think we'll do that, because then what we're going to do is then the Viper gets recharged. So now we will unfortunately have to encounter the Eternal Captives, but fortunately we have the Blessed of Thoth, so we can add 2 dice to any Wisdom non-combat check. Okay, so we can add our Wisdom, which is D6, so at least now we can roll 3D6, and we can try to banish the Eternal Captives thanks to the Blessing of Thoth. Alright, and we rolled 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, so we failed. We failed by 1, so we have to take 1d4 cold damage. So we take 1 point of cold damage. We'll go ahead and lose the magnifying glasses damage. And we have to suffer the Curse of the Sphinx all over again. Alright, it's just not Damiel's day. So what we're going to do now is, okay, we suffer the Curse of the Sphinx. We have that. We're seeing which card is on top of the location deck. It's going to be the 4th card. Alright, let's go ahead and reset Damiel's hand. Once again, he's losing some cards here. We're advancing the Blessings deck. It's a Blessing of the Elements. We have to examine this card. Wow, and it's the Eternal Captives all over again. Wow, that's really rough. So what we're going to do, so we have to do the Wisdom Divine or Charisma Diplomacy. So Wisdom Divine, Charisma Diplomacy, we don't have anything going for us. So this is an auto fail, unfortunately. Damiel just has no way to defeat that barrier. So we'll have to take another D4 of cold damage. So we're taking 3 points of cold damage. What we can do is we can use the Blessed of Mat to stop 2 of that. But then we'll take another point of damage there. And now the Eternal Captives will get shuffled back into the deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 cards in this location deck. We want to see which card is on top. It's the 5th card. Alright, we are going to reset Damiel's hand. And now we will advance the Blessings deck. It's a Blessing of the Elements. We have to examine this card, which is the Safety Bubble. And now we have to use the Curse of the Sphinx. So if it's a boon, we have to recharge our hand, reset our hand, and discard a card. So wow, it's getting to be pretty tough. So we have to recharge a card, We'll have to reset our hand. Then we have to recharge our hand, reset it. Then we have to discard a card. So we'll discard the Viper, but now we can go ahead and examine the safety bubble. So it's an intelligence 11. We're just going to do a straight up intelligence check. So roll the 5 plus 3 is 8, not enough. Glass bubble is banished, resetting Damiel's hand. We're going to advance the Blessings deck. It's the Blessed of Abadar, and we have to examine this card. It's Eternal Captives. We don't have to deal with the Curse of the Sphinx, but we do have to deal with the Eternal Captives, and once again, it's going to be an auto fail. So rolling to see how much cold damage we take. We take 4 points of cold damage. So we're going to use the Ubashti, recharge it to stop 2, and we use the Blessed of Matt to stop 2 points of damage. Alright, so at least there's that. It gets shuffled back into the deck. Well, those 2 cards right there just saved Damiel's life, which is pretty amazing. So there's 4 cards left in the location deck. Let's roll a d4, see which card is back. It's a 3. Third card, we're going to reset Damiel's hand. And now we're going to advance the Blessings deck. It's the Curse of Fevered Dreams. So we get the Curse of Fevered Dreams. We're going to examine this card now. I'll move that die out of there. Let's examine this card. It's the Tar Bomb. We want to deal with the Curse of the Sphinx. It's a Obstacle, Magic, Trap, Acid, Obstacle, Magic, Acid, Fire traits. Strength, Dexterity, or Intelligence Disable. Well, obviously we'll do the Disable check. So that's going to be D10 plus the Disable is plus 4. Then, since it has the Acid trait, Damiel can reveal a card that has the Alchemist trait, and he has plenty in his hand to add 2d6 to the roll. So we're rolling all this, and we get to add plus 4. Wow, what a bad roll. But fortunately, it was 12 plus 4 is 17, so we did stop the Tar Bomb. Very nice. So we kind of are running out of time, and we don't want to deal with the Curse of Fevered Dreams, so we're going to use the Blessed of Bastet, discarding the card to examine what this card is. And it's Eternal Captives. Wow, what bad luck. So what we have to do now is, unfortunately, it's going to be an auto fail. I can't believe it. Damiel has to take 4 points of cold damage, possibly. He takes only 1 point of cold damage. Let's go ahead and lose the Alchemist Shield. Eternal Captives gets shuffled back into the deck. Okay. And what we're going to do now is roll d6, see which card is on top of the location deck. It's the second card. We're going to reset Damiel's hand. So now he has absolutely no cards in his hand, or in his deck rather. So as it is, what we have to do now is we have to now use the Curse of Fevered Dreams, unfortunately. Actually, no. See, we could banish the Soul Stimulant to get rid of Curse of Fevered Dreams, but then Damiel would die. So we have to go ahead and we have to recharge. We can only draw 1d4 plus 1 cards for our hand. So we do get a hand size of 5 for the Curse of Fevered Dreams, so that's beneficial. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So basically we just can't just have like 1 card. We're missing 1 card from our hand, from our final hand here. Let's go ahead and just pick 5 cards here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, let's go ahead, and this is the last card in the Blessings deck. It's a Blessed of Pharasma, and we will examine this card due to the Glass Pavilion. Hey, look at that, the last card, and it's a trigger. So we don't have to worry about Curse of Sphinx, but we have to deal with the villain here. Wow, that was the final card in the Blessings deck, and our hand is really thin. Let's see what we can do here. So when you examine this card, you are dealt 1d4 poison damage. If this damage is not reduced to 0, suffer the Scourge Curse of the Sphinx. Then shuffle her into a random other location. So we we are dealt 1d4 poison damage. So we take 2 points of poison damage, but fortunately we do have that Blessed of Matt, so we can recharge that so we don't take the damage. And now we have to do a combat 24 check against Fei Mei. So, what do we got? Well, the only thing we can do this, which is use the chakram. The chakram is going to allow us to use our dexterity or range skill plus a d8. Fortunately, our range skill is +5, which is nice. And then we can use Damiel's mad scientist power to use the scarab sand. We can't even use the scarab sand or we're going to die. But we can use it to recharge it to recharge a card. And we can add 2d4 to our check. Alright, so this is going to be an extremely long shot. But we're going to try it. We get to add +5 to the roll, and we need a 24. Alright, can't use any more cards. We need to draw our hand size of 6. Let's see what happens. Alright, so we rolled an 8 and a 6. Is 8, 9, 10, 14, and 4. 14 and 4 is 18, 19, and we can add +5. Wow, check that out. +5, because that's Damiel's buff for ranged. I can't believe it. It's combat 24 check. We made it on the dot. 8, 9, 10, 13, 19, 25 is 24. Boom. Not only did we defeat Fei Mei, we get to draw the loot armor. Man, this is amazing because check this out. We get to reset our hand. So Damiel was down to his last 6 cards. Wow, this is a really this is an epic adventure here. So these were his 6 cards in his hand. Blessed of Matt, Scarab Sand. So basically, with those 6 cards, he was able to defeat Fei Mei. So let's go ahead. Let's get the loot, the golden armband. Let me go ahead and find that really quick. So for defeating this, so we get this cool loot, which is a level 4 treasure, which is awesome because we're level 5. We can get it, and we automatically close the location, which is awesome. Boy, that was amazing. That those captive, eternal captives. Man, there was also one more villain or Bane in that deck. Let's go ahead and do a deck check. Man, that was one awesome adventure. The losing time there, losing cards, almost perishing. Let's do a deck check. Man, really cool. Well, hopefully you enjoyed that scenario. I really enjoyed playing it. It was a race against time. So here's all the cards in Damiel's deck. He, of course, really likes all the cards he got. He got a nifty new magnifying glass, which he's going to promptly toss, of course, since it's a basic level. And we do have the Sun Rod, which is really cool. He got that off the trader. He's got a spell here. We're just going to toss that right away. So he's got the canteen. So he's got this item, which he's going to trade promptly. Soul Stimulant. So this is the state of Damiel's deck. He really doesn't have a lot to trade. He just has that the new armband that he's going to trade. So let's go ahead and see what the reward for the scenario was. A power feat. So Damiel, the mad scientist. Let's go ahead and zoom in and see what's his power feat. So his power feat's going to be, let's go ahead and see what options we have here. I don't think we're going to raise when you defeat a barrier that has a lock or trap trait. That's pretty cool. Could have used that. Let's see. The lock or the trap trait. So was this a lock or the trap trait? Okay. I was just checking to see if he could have used the tar bomb, but he couldn't for that whole scenario. So power feat for Damiel. What are we going to do here? We are going to we are going to, since he had so much trouble with those barriers, I think he learned his lesson that he now has to check off this box so we can add up to 1d6 on his check to defeat a barrier. So there you have it. He learned his lesson the hard way, but Damiel did learn. So let's go ahead and go to a trader. I don't really know if we're going to trade, but once again, he's going to his pal Falsing Geek. He's saying, what do you got for me? Not that we got a lot of stuff that we want to trade. I don't even know if we have. He's on level 5, Damiel. I don't even know if he has any items to trade that are level. Let's do a quick check here before he even goes to Falsing Geek. So level 4, he can only trade, oh yeah, so he could trade the armband and he can trade the sunrod. I'm pretty sure that's all he's got. That's level 4. I don't think he has any level 5 items. I think we'll just, yeah, we're just going to have to skip going to the trader, because the reason why is that the only, so Damiel here, Damiel right here, he is not going to a trader because he just has this sunrod and the golden serpent armband to trade, and he does not want to lose the sunrod. Well, you know what? He might want to lose the sunrod. We're doing it. We're going to Falsing Geek. We're going to try it. Shuffling that. Rolling these giant stack of items here. Cut them in half. What do we get that's level 4 or 5? So finally passing us, so Lamp of Fiery Visions. 4 or 5. Level 4 or 5. Okay, well, he's trying to sell us that necklace of fireballs, unfortunately. The Lamp of Fiery Visions, do we want it? Display this card. You may recharge this card to examine the top 2 cards of this location deck. I mean, it's cool, but not cool enough. Alright, so we'll say thank you, Falsing Geek. We wanted that lightning bottle. We didn't get it. So that is the end of the scenario, and that's the end of Damiel living up. So he will keep this. He'll toss that. Doesn't want it. Clogging up his deck. And there you have it. Well, thanks so much for watching. That was a really exciting adventure. And I will have the next adventure up shortly. Thank you.